everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus pilot and welcome to our next long haul in the Airbus A350 featuring version 1.0.6. So today we are going to fly a Lufthansa flight 415 from Washington Dulles over to Munich, and this one promises to become an interesting flight due to the end weather. So let's go ahead and have a look into our flight plan. We can see that we are using Amtrak Delta today, and there is quite a lot of tracks, which indicates that the amount of traffic this night is going to be rather high. If we look into the significant weather chart, it looks pretty complex today, but as you can see, there's mostly low-level stuff in the first half of the flight. So departing Washington, flying along the US East Coast and Newfoundland, we eventually end up on the North Atlantic track. And well, over here things start to get a little bit more interesting. So we are crossing the jet stream over here, which however only goes until flight level 380, and we are flying at 390 for the majority of our flight. We gotta ask ourselves why that is, and the answer is probably if we have this many North Atlantic tracks, then chances are that the weather over the North Atlantic is really, or that the traffic over the North Atlantic, I should say, is so dense that our flight planners have figured that just flying higher is going to save us the struggle of the rerouting, and therefore we've got our flight plan the way we got it today. If we do move forward a little bit, then things are going to get a bit naughty in the morning, as once we are passing about 30 degrees west over here, we do start entering that area number 2, which lasts all the way to the Dutch coast. And as you can see, that's moderate turbulence up to flight level 400. Hopefully we'll be in flight level 410 by that time, but this is most definitely something that we gotta pay some attention to. Arrival into Munich is gonna get interesting as well over here. You can see that number 1, and that indicates severe turbulence between level 400 and level 160. So the arrival and basically the second half of our flight from about 30 west is going to be rather unpleasant today. Looking into the weather forecast, Washington itself has good weather conditions, perhaps a little bit of tailwind for our departure, we'll see about that. And then Munich has some gusts in the forecast, but everything down the runway, so basically good weather. Over in Stuttgart, the same thing is the case, a little bit of gusts forecast, but nothing that should be too challenging for us. Now with that information, let's head into the flight plan. And we got the X-Ray Quebec today, A350-900 with the Trent XWB engines. If we depart on time, we are going to arrive 25 minutes ahead of schedule, so that's pretty good. And if we look at the flight plan, you can see that indeed we are planned in flight level 390 initially, then over the North Atlantic, flight level 400, and climb level 410 after the crossing. So chances are that we will be able to climb above the turbulence, but you can never be entirely sure about it. If we do look into the dispatch information, then we can see that Amtrak Victor is available until flight level 400. Above that, it would be a random route, but nonetheless, we could probably still request it from air traffic control, as we are pretty lightweight today. Now, with that much in mind, let's go into our fuel planning. So, if we look at the plan over here, flying 2,000 feet below would actually save us 114 kilos of fuel without any impact on our flight times. So chances are that we will take it a little bit lower today, traffic permitting, or just a little bit higher if that means we get the better routing. Either of the two is possible, and even if we do fly super fast because of whatever delays, we don't use that much extra fuel. With all of that in mind, if we have a look at the fuel over here, then we got 46.2 minimum plus 600 tax, so if we round that up to 47 tons of fuel, then we should be absolutely good to go. Alright, the basics out of the way, let's get into our aircraft. And with that, welcome aboard our A350. So today we are flying from the captain's seat, and we can go right down here into the AOC functions. You can see we have already received our first copy of the load sheet, and the figures look pretty much the same way they did in our flight plan, with around 220 tons of ramp weight. So far so good. Then let's go ahead and start with our safety inspection. So the thrust levers are idle, engine master levers off, start select and norm, landing gear lever is down, and the wiper selectors are off. So then electrical power is already applied to the aircraft. Then we can do the technical acceptance and run the recall for 3 seconds. And here we go. So recall is normal, dispatch page will be added soon, and then we can do our fire test. And that's looking good. So IRS is coming on 1, 2, and 3. And if we do take a quick look into the current temperatures, then, well, it's 20 degrees outside, but it's night, so we probably won't need the APU just yet. Alright, cool. That much for the basics. Then let's ensure that our aircraft is safe to operate. So the oxygen quantities are looking good, rain repellent is looking good, hydraulic quantities are looking good, and then we can check the engine oil quantity, and that's hidden up here. So FADEC coming on, and I just really like that new FADEC startup logic that AnyBuilds have implemented. So all the sensors come on more or less one by one. So the oil quantity could be a little bit more, but it's still fine for our flight today, even though it is at the lower limit. But that's alright, we're gonna keep things the way they are over here. Alright, so flaps are retracted, spout is retracted, matching the levers, the brake pressure indicator is showing full, and the last thing I do want to check is the brake temperatures. So let's look at the wheel page, and yeah, the brakes are cool. Alright, perfect. So with that, we are done with our preliminary preflight procedure. So floodlights coming on today. Then we can do our flight deck inspection. So the plane has not been refueled yet, so the fasten seatbelt sign is going to remain off. And we don't have any temperature sensitives in the forward hold, so let's switch that off as well. So then, let's go ahead and check the QNH 3004. So let's switch that over. And here we go, 3004. We'll set the radios up a little bit later, as we do want a bit of silence for the time being. And then obviously we do want to listen to comms 1 and 2. Tune that down a little bit, we don't want to kill our ears. And the same for our FO as well. So a flight like this would be operated with 2 pilots, then we can use the transponder down here and record the PAs, and that's it. With that we can go up into our FMS. So A350-900, 0 performance factor, and the nav database is checked. We can delete any of those previously stored waypoints, and then go right over into the flight plan request. While that's ongoing, we can head over into the electronic flight bag real quick, and let's see, let's get that jetway connected, please. So that's better. Then load sheet, we can do the sim brief import. Up here, our payload is correct, and the fuel load will be 47 tons, so set 0 fuel weight and set fuel. Takeoff performance, we can synchronize SimBrief and synchronize the weather, packs off and compute. And that's looking pretty good. And then last but not least for our charts, we're departing Washington Dulles, so let's get those charts first. Parking chart and ground chart. And then we can look for our SID, which is planned as Jacobi 4 departure. So let's see if we can find that anywhere. Yep, that's looking good. So then the last thing that's missing is our SID PT charts, and I can't actually find any traces of those in here, which is a bit of a pity. But okay, we'll get all that stuff from air traffic control later on, so I'm not too worried there either. So, dimming those displays a bit, and then we can continue with our flight plan setup. So, Lufthansa 415, Washington to Munich, alternate Stuttgart, flight level 390, cost an X20 with a bit of a tailwind. Then let's go over into the flight plan. So the tropopause is in 42,000 feet with minus 64 degrees. So that's 42,000, and the temperature today minus 64. Alright, so RS will be available in a minute's time for our departure, runway 30, and the SID is the Jacobi 4 departure, and we are transitioning onto SWAN, pretty much like this, and insert. So arrival into Munich will be an ILS approach runway 26 right, and we are arriving via Rockhill, so let's select the Rockhill 26 transition and insert. So quick cross check of our SID. So after departure heading 301 until 820 and thereafter heading 320. And thereafter we've got rings at 3000, then onto Jacobi, and then we are flying onto the SWAN transition, so that's going to be via Grim over to Soki and then SWAN. Alright, and that's it already. Perfect, so that's our SID cross-checked, the arrival is cross-checked, then back onto the inlet, nav aids, we don't need anything over here. So, fuel and load, this is where things are getting a bit more interesting. So, according to the current load sheet, we've got a zero fuel weight of 173.4. So 173.4, CG25 in the absence of knowing the actual one, 47 tons. Taxi fuel 0.5, and then onto the OFP again. So alternate 2.5, final 2.3. Pretty much like this. Alright, return and then takeoff performance, where we can insert and uplink what we had down here. Confirm, no shift, and 34, 40, 46. The rest is looking good. Engine out acceleration 1500 above the ground. Transition in 18 is correct. So departing Washington runway 30, and then on the climb page auto derate is selected. Very good. So then let's go back onto the flight plan and onto the secondary, where we are going to import the active. So Kiat runway 30, insert next waypoint, and that's going to be the IAT-X, I think number 4, number 5, I don't care, let's call it IAT-X5, that's fine with me. So Washington runway 30, then we do need that runway track, which is 301, and a distance of 25 miles. Alright, store waypoint, and here it is. And then from here, new destination, back to Washington. And then let's quickly see which runway we are going to be landing on. So ATC-COM, D-ATIS. I think there's just one general ATIS for all of Washington. Let's go ahead and see. So information hotel and ILS or visual approach 19 right. Okay, so any of the 19s. In that case, we'll just take it on to 19 right. So Washington, arrival, runway 19. Actually, tell you what, 19 left because it is the longest. Alright, and that's it. Very good, so then back onto the primary flight plan. Fix info. Washington runway 30, radial 301, and then for the emergency waypoint IAT-X5, and here we go. Alright, cool. So then let's go on to the route summary and just store this route. And over here we can then cross-check that our route has indeed been filed correctly. So we're going to call this one IAT Mock 1. Alright, cool. So from Washington runway 30, we eventually get towards Swarm. That should look a little bit different here. Brass, Quebec 419, Romeo Bravo Victor. And that's it. Then Quebec 430, Alpha Charlie Kilo. Direct Canny, November 79 Alpha Supri. And we go Canny, 79 Alpha Supri, then via the nut towards Gisti, direct Londu, Whiskey Tango Delta, Anjax. So Londu, Whiskey Tango Delta, and Anjax, then direct Adhav, direct Axnev, direct Sipwi. And in here we have Adhav, Axnev, Sipwi, then Ossil, Sampi, Quebec 63 Compton. So Ossil, Sorpi, and Quebec 63 Compton, Upper Lima 9 Biggin, Lima 607 Conan, and that's what we have over here. Then Upper Lima 607 Coxie, direct Dinox. So Upper Lima 607 Coxie, direct Dinox, and then we've got direct Vemba, direct Sierra Papa India, direct Martuk, direct Movum, and that's the same thing we have in here, followed by Tango 109 Harem, Tango 104 Rokil. And that's what we have almost in here. That last one is incorrect, but that used to be a problem with the other IndyBuilds aircraft already, so I'm not gonna complain about this one. In any case, the routing looks pretty much correct to me, and everything is entered correctly in here. Now, in the real world, in order to get our ATC clearance, we would go on to Connect, and then Notify, KUSA, hit Notify, and that would eventually return our PDC as the CPDLC uplink. But okay, that's all we have available. So we did actually get it from VATSIM straight away when we connected to the network, which is how it works nowadays. So actually pretty cool. So here is our clearance. So let's have a look. Lufthansa 415 with an A350-900 departing Washington via Jacobi 4 departure, Swarm transition. Flight level 390, squawk 1334. And cleared Jacobi 4 departure, Swarm transition, maintain 3000, expect 390 10 minutes after. Frequency 126.1, contact ATC with side of ramp. Okay, so 1261. In here, then we have Jacobi 4 departure, and that's what we have in here, and finally altitude 3000 feet. Here we go. Alright, and that's pretty much our clearance now cross-checked. Finally squawk 1334 is in. Alright, perfect. So that's all of our setup completed. One thing I forgot earlier, that's the step climbs, and we do have 2 of them. So let's quickly enter those as well. So flight level 400 at Supri. So Supri in 400. And then 410 at Gisti. Oh, what's it doing now? No, delete that, please. That looks a little buggy. So let's do that again. Supri, flight level 400. And then this time I'm just going to use the scroll wheel. That's a bit more reliable. Towards Gisti. And that's going to be flight level 410. Cool. So that's entered. Then the last thing we do is the wind request. We can only do that after our step climbs have been entered. And here we go, winds, insert. So it tells us a negative extra fuel, but don't worry too much about that. So then let's move up here. We have a QNH at 3004. Alright, and that's the ANF loading. Well, and with that we've basically completed our setup, so let me know when you're ready for the briefing, please. Yeah, ready right now, huh? Alright, cool. So we're departing Washington Dulles, runway 30, Jacobi 4 departure, initial climb 3000, and we have basically 0 extra fuel and an MSA at 2,500 feet up to 3,500 feet in the departure sector. Alright, thanks. That's looking good. So what are we going to do? We don't have any hotspots for our taxi out, and the stop margin will only be a couple meters, really not all that much. Engine out sits straight at 25 miles, climbing 4,000. That keeps us safe above that MSA of 3,500 down there, and if we need to make an immediate return, Washington is the best option in the area. ILS 19 left is already programmed in the secondary flight plan, and that's it. I don't have any specials or non-standards over here, rather low level of altitude, but nothing critical, and that would be everything I have. Any questions? No? Perfect. So then let's do the cockpit preparation checklist. And fueling is complete. Fast mode's going on. So gear pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity. 47 tons balanced. Barrel ref, QNH 3004. Cockpit preparation checklist complete. Alright then, let's say hello to our guests. Scheduled off block is now, so you can already go down here, close the doors, remove the jetway, and start the APU. Enable GSX control, please. And prepare pushback and departure. Handling by Swissport ist okay. Liebe Fluggäste, einen schönen guten Abend aus dem Cockpit. Hier spricht Ihr Kapitän. Mein Name ist Emanuel. Im Namen der Lufthansa darf ich Sie herzlich an Bord von Flug 415 nach München begrüßen. Flugzeit heute circa 7,5 Stunden. Wir erwarten eine ruhige erste Hälfte des Fluges, die zweite Hälfte über dem östlichen Nordatlantik und Schottland bis England könnte etwas wackelig werden, weshalb wir Sie bitten, dass Sie die Anschnallgurte angelegt lassen, wenn Sie sich im Sitz befinden, auch wenn die Anschnallzeichen ausgeschaltet sind. Wir bedanken uns herzlich, dass Sie heute unsere Gäste sind. Lehnen Sie sich zurück und genießen den Flug mit uns. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emanuel. In the name of Lufthansa, welcome aboard flight 415 to Munich. Today's flight time has been calculated at 7.5 hours, and we do expect a smooth first half of the flight. The second half on the east and North Atlantic, as well as over Scotland and the United Kingdom, may be a little bit turbulent. For this reason, please keep your seatbelts fastened if you're in your seat, even if the fasten seatbelt sign is turned off. Thank you very much for your attention, and once again, welcome on board. Alright, perfect. So our guests are briefed. We have already received our clearance. Then let's go ahead and do the load sheet, please. So 0 fuel 173.4 with a CG at 30.2. So 173.4 is correct, CG 30.2. And we have 47 tons of fuel, 279 passengers. Like this, and that gives us a takeoff weight of 220.4, and we have calculated 219.5. I tell you what, let's just calculate 221, then we should be absolutely safe. Send that to the FMS, please. Confirm that everything basically remained the same. Okay, that's very good. So external power has already been removed, and then let's have a quick look at our parking chart. So we're at Concourse Bravo up here. So that's the north area ramp. And if it's a ramp control on taxiways Alpha and Bravo, that means we basically don't need to push at all. So VATSIM ATC is always a little bit strange here in terms of when they want to call you and when they don't want you to call them. In the real world, you just call ramp control, tell them that you're ready for push, and then they just tell you what to do. But we'll just give them a shout here and see what they're going to say. Washington, good evening. Lufthansa 415 Heavy at the North Ramp in Dulles. We are fully ready for push and start. And it looks like they're not responding. Let's...
And Lufthansa 415 Heavy, push and start at your discretion. Expect runway 30 for departure. Information for Dulles is hotel and advise ready to taxi.
Lufthansa 415, push and start at our discretion, runway 30 for departure, and we have information hotel on board. Alright, before start checklist. So, cabin crew, all doors in flight. And that's going to be facing west, or is it? Runway 30, yeah, facing west. So before start checklist, park and brake, set, takeoff speeds and thrust. V1.138, VR140, V2.1.6, flex 59. Slides, armed, nose wheel disconnect memo, checked. Before start checklist complete. Ground for flight deck, go ahead. So we are cleared for push facing west and the park and brake is now released. Thank you, start on the push facing west and stand by for engine start. Stand by. Okay, pretty cool. That was good ATC here. So let's bring this onto the en route chart so that we have a taxi map available. Well, and here we go. So we're approaching the end of the ramp. Let's get going here. It does take a while for the FADEC to start up. And once it has started, we need another 10 seconds. Here we go. Timer is running. Alright, cool. So 10 seconds have passed. Ground flight, engine 1 start. And here we go. So number 1 is starting. And just in case you're wondering, that private message we just received, that was someone thanking me for the work on my channel. Alright, so number 1 is coming up. And then we have pretty much completed the pushback over here. Alright, push completed, set brakes. Brake set. Alright, so good start in engine number 1, starting engine number 2. Clear 2, engine 2 start. So they should be moving the truck any moment now. Engine number 2 is slowly coming up. The GSX guy is walking behind the engine again, because why not? I do know a couple of reasons. Alright. And we have ignition, the engine is starting, very good.
Stealth approach Jazz 8617, what runway would you like us to use for departure?
And that's looking good. Okay, 2 good engine starts, clear disconnect, show with the pin on the left please, have a good day. And there he is already. Wonderful.
I'm sorry, last that craft. Was this at PWI?
Jazz 8617, what runway would you like us to use out of Dulles?
Oh, Jazz 8617, welcome back. 30 for departure.
30, okay, thank you.
So, flight control check please.
Putung
Full up.
approach, Brickyard
Full down.
4538 with you,
Neutral.
turning down to 12,000.
Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder left. Full right. And neutral.
And Brickyard 4538, cross Baltimore at a maintain 10,000, 250 knots.
Anti-ice. Off. Flight controls.
Baltimore
checked.
altimeter is
Ground clearance
3006.
received. After start
Washington
checklist
landing
complete.
south.
Lufthansa 415 Heavy, request taxi.
Potomac approach, Brickyard 4538. Could you repeat your first instruction?
And Brickyard 4538, cross Baltimore at or maintain 10,000, 10,000, 250 knots. Washington is landing south. Baltimore altimeter is 3006.
Cross Baltimore at 10,250 knots. Brickyard 4538.
Roger. And Lufthansa 415 Heavy, runway 30, taxi via Zulu Yankee 11, and watch out for the Embraer ahead of you.
Lufthansa 415 Heavy, taxi runway 30 via Zulu Yankee 11, and we'll watch out for the Embraer ahead. Okay, so Zulu and Yankee 11. So Zulu is the first one to the left, and then we'll see. And of course the Embraer is pushing right in front of us. Because, yeah, why not? I hate it. That's what I hate so much about how they do this whole ramp thing on VATSIM. In the real world, you would have a frequency that you'd be on, and they would have called, we would have said, no, we're about to start taxiing, and then they would not have pushed in the first place. On VATSIM, chaos. Alright, brake check. Brakes okay. Lufthansa 415, any chance for us to circumnavigate the Embraer via Alpha 2 Alpha?
That's in the ramp area, so that'll be at your discretion. If you can pass, wonderful. We'll see you on the other side for Zulu.
Roger, see you on Zulu then. Yeah, so that's what we'll do.
Lufthansa 415, we have a run more engine that needs to go, and then we're getting going.
Roger.
Roger, we'll be around you by the time you're ready.
Okay.
That's exactly how we would have done this in the real world. Just that
attention
ATC
traffic for
probably isn't that happy about it.
Dulles. Stand by, please.
Yep, that's what I meant. ATC is already saying all traffic in Dulles stand by. He doesn't like us to converse on the frequency, of course, which is one of the
Attention
shortcomings.
aircraft for Dulles. Ground is now online. Please contact 121.62. We'll see you.
12162, thank you.
126, yeah.
Oh god, and of course it's 121.625, so here we go.
8617, Dulles Ground, welcome aboard, runway 30, taxi via Zulu, Yankee left.
Zulu Yankee 11, Jazz 8617.
Dallas ground, good evening. Lufthansa 415, taxiing via Alpha.
Lufthansa 415 Heavy, Dallas Ground, welcome aboard. Runway 30 Zulu Yankee 11.
Runway 30 Zulu Yankee 11, Lufthansa 415.
And Lufthansa 415 Heavy, also be advised there will be a small Embraer that will pull out onto Zulu ahead of you. Give way.
Number 2 behind the Embraer, Lufthansa 415 Heavy. Okay, too bad. That was a little quick over there. In the real world that would have taken a bit longer. But okay. So down to 10 knots, and then we stay number 2 behind the Embraer, unfortunately. I kinda hoped we could overtake him. And the next private message, oh god. Alright, so off we go. Zulu, Yankee 11. Let's have a look at the ground chart to be absolutely sure where Yankee 11 is, but I'm fairly sure it's the holding point. Yep, it is. Nicely see that down here. Alright, so we've got no changes to our original briefing. And I think we can just continue like it. Cool, so then, auto brake on and everything's set down here. Takeoff config check, TCAS onto above, and that's it. Guys, this is too many private messages. Alright, cool. So taxi checklist, please. So flap setting, conf 1 plus F, radar on, taxi checklist complete. Okay, cool. So we are behind the Embraer, and well, Yankee 11 is a left-hand turn at the end. Is that here already? What do you say?
Jazz 8617,
No,
contact departure 126.1, good day.
Over to departures, yeah.
Lufthansa 415 Heavy, same to you, over to departure 126.1, good day.
126.1, Lufthansa 415 Heavy, good day. Why did it change my standby frequency?
Runway 30, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff 30, fly heading runway 340 on takeoff, cleared for takeoff runway
Okay, so cabin ready.
8617. A lot of threes.
A lot of threes just confused you today.
No problem.
Washington departure, Lufthansa 415 Heavy, taxiing Yankee 11, ready for departure.
And Lufthansa 415 Heavy, roger. Thanks for letting the Embraer go ahead, and as soon as he's in the air, we'll get you going.
Roger that. Okay, so Yankee 11 is next to the left. I really love the A and F for that. Makes taxis so easy. The Embraer had seems to have missed it, and he went via Quebec, I believe. Alright, Alright, so the Embraer is lining up now, then we can taxi up to the holding point. Don't need the ANF any longer. I think there might be a new bug involving the traffic switch, because it is now turned on by default when I believe the ADRU has aligned. But now when you press the default button on the surveillance page, it turns off. I'm fairly sure it shouldn't. Alright, so the Embraer is going, then it's going to be our turn thereafter. Okay, we don't have lineup clearance.
Sentinel aircraft 4, Dulles, information is now India, wind 20013, gust 17, altimeter 3003.
So, 3003, and very slight
Lufthansa 415 Heavy, runway 30, line up and wait.
Lufthansa 415 Heavy, runway 30, line up and wait.
And Jazz 8617, climb and maintain 1, or radar contact, climb and maintain 1000, say altitude leaving.
So, cabin, secured, takeoff runway, 30 full length, pax
Climb
1 and
maintain
2,
1000,
off,
leaving
line of
3000.
checklist complete.
Roger, Jazz 8617, proceed direct I-door.
See direct I-door, Jazz 8617.
So, weather on my side, terrain on yours. There
Stomach approach,
is no real approach area here, but
depending on the
if there was, it would be clear.
And Delta 1638, going to approach, good morning. Expect a visual for 19 or left.
Expect visual for 19 left, Delta 1638.
Always love it how they fly those visual
Right,
approaches
Delta
at
First,
night.
could we have the fixed
in the
given
US.
for the waypoint?
In Europe we can't do that.
For Jazz 8617,
Or rather, as
that
European
should be
carriers, we
proceed
can't do
direct
that.
I-door.
I-door, thank you.
And Lufthansa 415 Heavy, wind 200 at 13, gust 17, runway 30, cleared for takeoff.
Lufthansa 415 Heavy, runway 30, cleared for takeoff. Okay, slight tailwind as expected, all the lights are on, and we're ready to go. Takeoff. Manflex 59, SRS, auto thrust blue. Thrust set. I really love those active noise reduction effects here when the engines are running up. Great job from any builds. So you can really feel those gusts. 100 knots, checked.
V1.
Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav. Checked.
Sorry about that departure.
Okay, full
our
heading
departure got messed up.
320.
We have I-door now.
Jazz 8617, roger. I'll get you over to center here in just a second. And Lufthansa 415 Heavy, radar contact. Climb and maintain 10,000, say altitude leaving.
Lufthansa 415 Heavy, climb 10,000, leaving 2,000. Okay, 10,000
Roger,
blue.
Lufthansa 415 Heavy. Proceed direct, rigging.
Lufthansa 415 Heavy, direct rigging. Flap 0, speed checked. Okay, so direct to Riga.
Potomac departure, good morning,
That's it.
Southwest 279 with hotel on the
Nav.
ground at Baltimore, stand B11. We are ready to push
Climb.
and start into the alley.
And Southwest 279, Potomac approach, good morning. Push and start into the taxiway is approved facing south. Expect runway 15 right for departure and advisory to taxi.
Okay, excellent.
Right,
So
facing
after
south
takeoff items
and
are done,
15 right,
and
and
we're
we'll
up
advise ready to
and
taxi.
on the way.
Southwest 279.
And Jazz 8617, contact Washington Center 133.72. Have a great day.
Over to Washington Center. See you. Have a good day. Jets 8615.
So reaching 250 knots, let's pitch it up. And man, I just love that low-level flying over cities that you do in the United States. So many procedures do this, and you often get directs taking you at low altitudes over cities. They just don't care.
415 Heavy, contact Washington Center at 133.72. Auf Wiedersehen.
13372, Lufthansa 415 Heavy, vielen Dank.
American 2036, drop Cameron at 11000 and 250
Very nice
knots,
controller.
Kennedy
Very
Alpha
nice
3019.
controller.
Cross Cameron at 11000, 250 knots, 301 on American 2036.
Autopilot 1. Washington, good morning, Lufthansa 415 Heavy, passing 5600, climbing 10,000 inbound Riggins.
Lufthansa 415 Heavy, Washington Center, Roger, good morning. Climbing flight level 390.
Climb maintain flight level 390, Lufthansa 415 Heavy. All cruise, 39,000 blue. Love it. So, beautiful look outside.
Number 857-900, Washington Center, Roger, good morning. For your clearance out of Richmond, contact Potomac approach 126.1.
And it'll tell you whatever city that is that you're actually looking at.
American 2036, leaving my airspace, frequency
Something I
change
don't
approved.
like
Happy
that
landing,
much
thanks for
is
stopping by.
that there is no night version of that standard map.
Frequency change approved. Yeah,
Oh, let's go over
American
here.
2036.
Alright, so that was a very good
Number
departure.
42 Mike Whiskey, Washington Center, go
The
ahead.
typical VATSIM ramp problem, of course, applied, but that's something that I really hope they're eventually going to solve, perhaps by implementing something similar to their CTAF trial, just with the appropriate ramp frequency. So that next to
Number
your
42 Mike Whiskey,
active
straight to
ATC,
the
you would just go onto
capital city
2
airport.
and then do all those ramp
ramp
calls as normal. For instance, the chart over here would say North Area Ramp 119.125, so you could kind of use that in the Honeycomb way, just like you are using your standard Honeycomb with the CTAF trial. And since charts are basically available for everyone nowadays, either through the FAA charts in the US or through the Lido charts if you run FS 2024, or through your favorite Navigraph subscription, I would absolutely love for them to do something like that. It would make flying in the US so much more realistic.
4538, did you ever see the river?
Right, going through 10,000, we'll keep the lights until we're in 18, but we can release our passengers already.
Yeah, it's okay. Turn right heading
So
010, we'll get you back pointed in that direction.
EFIS is basically set, we'll get you into the weather
Turn
radar
right
down
heading
here.
010, Brickyard 4538.
We don't need that chronometer any longer, then down into the FMS. So the nav aids are checked and basically none are hard-tuned. Flight level 386 is optimum, 390 is the cruise. That looks pretty good. And finally for arrival, 1127 is the estimate. And looking into the OFP, 1110 is the schedule, so perhaps we can go a little bit faster here to make good something. So let's do cost index 80. Probably won't make all too much of a difference, but we can always give it a try.
Before 2
Let's see
Mike
what it
Whiskey, Roger,
calculates
which
now.
runway you're planning?
And 1125, yeah.
Mike Whiskey,
We'll get
Roger,
there.
runway,
We'll get there. So we
let's see, runway
can
17,
delete the
taxi by Alpha,
discontinuity,
and cross
and
runway 7
that's
hold short
pretty
runway
much
24.
everything we have to do over here for the time being. So for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. Approaching flight level 110, and we are inbound to Rokiel, from where we are going to join the Rokiel 26 transition for an ILS approach into Munich. Unfortunately, the air traffic controller refuses to do low-level service, he only covers high-level, so we will have to do this approach on Honeycomb. That's the danger that I always talked about when doing these kind of flights on VATSIM. Sometimes you have ATC, other times you don't. In any case, we can just quickly update the ATIS over here so that we know what we are up to. So information Charlie, ILS 26 left and right, wind 280 at 14, temperature 11 QNH 1014, so 280 at and 1014. Alright. So that's our weather now pre-entered, and 1014 is also pre-selected, and the same down here. Alright, cool. So we go right onto the arrival routing. We can keep the speed down at 250 actually for a little bit, and then we can slowly start our descent to flight level 100 here. Let's make that at 1,000 feet a minute. Alright then, apart from that, I have pretty much prepared and selected everything already, so I'll go over to the right hand seat, I'll turn on the engine anti-ice in the meantime, and then we can start our approach briefing to get you guys in the loop as well. So let's go for the briefing. Alright, it's going to be a radar vectored ILS approach runway 26 right, minimum 1,650, MSA 3,700, in case of go-around straight ahead, and then a right turn out to, what's it called again, Mike NDV, kilometer 5,000, and we have no specials today. So, extra fuel and time, let's have a quick look at that, and once again, as I promised you, we do have sufficient fuel aboard, regardless of what the aircraft said on the ground over in Washington. All star. Okay, cool. So, ILS approach from a 26 right, flight director guided, and we have a config 3 approach in the box with idle reverse. We're going to vacate the runway to the left, and BDB is armed for the second rapid exit taxiway, and thereafter no hotspots for the taxi in. In terms of specials, we are approaching on Honeycomb, so we have to keep a good look outside for any other traffic. We'll have to check with other aircraft that may be anywhere nearby, and well, we basically have to provide our own separation, and that's it. Any questions, comments or concerns? No? Okay, so that's our briefing completed. Liebe Fluggäste, wir haben jetzt mit dem Anflug auf München begonnen. Die verbleibende Flugzeit noch etwa 10 Minuten. Das Wetter aktuell 11 Grad bei einer mäßigen Bewölkung. Wir möchten uns ganz herzlich bedanken, dass Sie heute Lufthansa für Ihren Flug gewählt haben, wünschen Ihnen einen schönen Aufenthalt, gegebenenfalls eine gute und sichere Weiterreise und freuen uns, Sie auch bald wieder an Bord willkommen zu heißen. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, your captain speaking. We will start our approach to Munich very soon. Remaining flight time about 10 minutes. The weather in Munich currently cloudy at a temperature of 11 degrees. Thank you very much for choosing the Lufthansa for today's flight, and we hope to see you again on future service. Okay, so the passengers are up to date, so then let's continue our descent. We go down to 5,000 feet, and I'm going to use vertical speed mode for that. Alright, set QNH. QNH 1014 cross-check, passing 10,000, well, passing 9,900. Now, checked. So, lights on, signs on, EFS set and LS. Here we go, approach checklist please. And you should be on config 3 over here. So, baro ref, QNH 1014, minimum, baro 1650, runway condition. Well, that's actually probably going to be wet, so let's dial that in, wet. And auto brake, BTV, approach checklist complete. Alright, so the Lufthansa behind us is climbing and violating the minimum separation. Two and a half is the minimum here, rather 3. But yeah, welcome on VATSIM Honeycomb land. So at least I can't see any other aircraft. Our TCAS is already set to below, so we should see anybody. Let's also make the annunciator lights a little bit brighter here to make everything easier to see. Well, and then we'll just have to wait and see what kind of traffic we are gonna get, if any. Munich traffic, Lufthansa 415 heavy, right hand downwind, runway 26 right. No replies. Okay, so be it. We can certainly live with that. Okay, so beam the final fix. Well, actually that final fix altitude constraint there is incorrect. If you check this out over here, you can see Gudek should be in 5,000, and that's where we start the descent. So in 10 miles we're going to start the right-hand turn. And that Fox India over here is probably the 8.2 mile point at 1420, but as you can see, there's a 5,000 restriction in there, which is incorrect. I wonder if that's a bug with the latest IndyBuilds 350 version, or if that's a problem with the nav data, because we have seen something like this at another airport on our last flight already. Oh well, so be it. So, tower is already pre-selected on the standby, and that's excellent. So, destination EFOP in amber again, that's fine. We had to circumnavigate a little bit of weather, but the weather here in Munich is good enough. So, I'm not worried about this at all. So turn the chart back to night mode, otherwise it just gets a little bit blinding over here. So another quick check, and I don't see any other traffic. And 1,000 to go. Checked. Fly slope alive. Activate approach phase. And then heading. Turn right, heading 170. So extend the center line, please. From Dudek. Course in 260, that's good. Why is the heading bug jumping? You should have remained exactly where you were. That's another bug then. So, looks like the vector is going to take us exactly into Gudek, All-Star. Munich, Lufthansa 415 Heavy, right base, runway 0, correction 26 right. Alt. So then, switching over to tower already so that we can listen to what's going on over here. And then right heading 240, cleared ILS 26 right. So we've got line 3 dual, autopilot 1 and 2, glide slope localizer blue. Block start. 13 miles out. Waiting a little bit with the flaps since we are pretty light today. München Towers, Airbus, Lufthansa 415 Heavy, ILS 26 right.
Lufthansa 415 München Tower, good evening, departing at 3:28.
Roger. Okay, so far so good. Then let's do the classic 170 to 5 miles here.
To 170 knots.
170 knots, Lufthansa 415. Flaps 1.
Lufthansa 2, Yankee Juliet,
I was
Apple
just
Alpha
about to
1
say
2.
it.
Confirm. Lufthansa 2 Yankee Juliet.
Okay, glide slope start.
Lufthansa 2
Go
Yankee
around
Juliet,
altitude
taxi
5000
6
seconds.
right, November Alpha 1 2.
Taxi 0.926 right, November Alpha 1 2. Lufthansa 2 Yankee Juliet.
Lufthansa 2 Nana Papa Monitor, Unicom bye. Unicom.
So, this controller has a plan. And he works to achieve it. I like that. Why do I emphasize this? Because according to VATSIM, this controller actually is a beginner. So it's very nice to see that he's made up a plan of a sequence of an aircraft departing before our arrival. I like that. And now my aircraft isn't holding the speed, so gear down. And we might have to give it a little bit of a speed brake as well here.
2,500.
Checked. Flaps 2. Speed checked. Flaps 2.
Lufthansa 415, release to final approach speed.
Lufthansa 415, reducing final approach speed. Manage speed. That actually makes it easier for us. So, speed brake is retracted again.
Lufthansa 2 Yankee Juliet, kindly expedite taxi.
And flaps 3. Speed checked. Flaps 3. And it stopped raining again. Okay, that's fine. So, engine MTS off. And landing checklist. Landing checklist complete. On a side note, if you're a controller, you should never tell an aircraft to expedite taxi. There is always a reason why they're taxiing the way they do. And if it turns out that it doesn't fit because we get too close to the runway by the time that the departing aircraft is ready, then so be it. You always need to change and adapt your plans. Alright. Manual flight.
Lufthansa 2 Yankee Juliet, wind 280 degrees 1 for knots, gust 27 knots, runway 26 right, cleared for takeoff, no delay.
26 right, cleared for takeoff, no delay. Lufthansa 2 Yankee Juliet.
Oh, strange. I pressed the autopilot disconnect button twice, so that should have cancelled everything in the first place. But okay, it doesn't matter. So, manual thrust, manual flight. That cabin ready seems to be a little bit of a bug there, so we'll just ignore that.
1000.
Checked.
Lufthansa 2 Yankee Juliet, cancel takeoff clearance, hold at cut 1 holding point, Alpha 12.
Rotor hold cut 1 holding point, start today, Juliet Hotel.
Lufthansa 415 into 80 degrees, 1 for knots, gas 27 knots, runway 26 right, clear to land.
Runway 26 right, clear to land, Lufthansa 415. Okay, excellent. So you see the aircraft that's just entered the intersection on the left side there.
Lufthansa 2 Yankee Juliet, behind the rising A350, 1.5 miles, final land up runway 26 right behind.
4.
Standard behind, Lufthansa 2 Juliet.
So a little bit gusty here, but down the runway, so not really much of an issue.
200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Spoilers, reverse green, decel. And BTV. Manual brakes, 70 knots, checked. Well, and with that, welcome to München. So let's see.
Lufthansa 2 Yankee Juliet, then 270 degrees, 10 knots, runway 26 right, cleared for takeoff.
26 right, clear for takeoff, Lufthansa 2 Yankee Juliet.
Lufthansa 415, taxi 23 November 3 via Mike Alpha 9er.
Taxi entry November 3 by Mike Alpha 9, Lufthansa 415. Okay, so Mike is actually the first one. So we gotta go left over here, which is a little bit non-standard, but if he wants us to do that, then we will.
München Tower, schönen guten Abend, die Lufthansa Triebhaber Foxtrot with information
Okay,
data on
great.
board, requesting
So,
also up
here we
to
are.
Stuttgart. Lufthansa Triebhaber Foxtrot, contact apron 121.710. Apron, bis gleich, tschüss. München Airways 9 Alpha Foxtrot, contact apron 121.710.
And then that's basically it. There is no off-landing checklist over here, so with that, welcome to München.
United 761, monitor apron on 121.710.
So we clear via Alpha 9er, that's up here.
Lufthansa 2 for Bravo, monitor apron 121.710.
Funny how none of them listens.
415, contact apron 121.710.
121.710, Lufthansa 415, tschüss.
Ciao. Lufthansa 2 Yankee Juliet, monitor Honeycomb, bye.
Airbus, München Airbus 9 Alpha Foxtrot, stand 161, request push.
München Alpha Foxtrot, apron, Christie, pushback approved, facing north orange.
Push approved, facing North Orange, 9 Alpha Fox, Grüß
München Aprons, Airbus, Lufthansa 415, entry November 3.
Lufthansa 415 apron, hello, taxi to stand 255, Delta 1 Echo 2.
255 via Delta 1, Echo 2, Lufthansa 415. Okay, so Delta 1 is the left one over here, Echo 2 onto the right hand side. Right, starting APU. And then stand 255. Let's tell GSX about that. So apron 2, and of course it's apron 2 on the satellite. 255. Here it is. No follow me needed. Handling by Swissport. Okay, 251 over here, so a couple more stands straight ahead. Over here it is. So nose lights going off, then let's get it down to 10 knots. And here we go, 255. Okay, shutdown number 2. So A350-900 is on the guidance. So last couple of meters, but it looks like we do need a little bit of thrust here. 1 and stop. Cabin crew, all doors in park. Alrighty, so the engines are running down.
München Airbus 9 Alpha Fox for taxi.
München Airbus 9 Alpha Fox for taxi to enter November 1 Whiskey 1 Orange.
November 1 Whiskey 1 Orange, 9 Alpha Fox.
So let's just leave that frequency here, and here we are. So alright, the slides are disarming, and then parking checklist please. So park and brake our trucks, brake set, wing lights, off, parking checklist complete. So let's get GSX to start the deboarding please. Interesting, it's telling me that we have already deboarded some passengers, though I'm wondering how exactly we did that. Well, I suppose there are certain things that you just don't have to understand in the world of GSX. Alright, well, And with that, my friends, I thank you very much for flying with us today. Hope you enjoyed this one. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. And as always, like, comment and subscribe. And if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.